Mr. Chairperson, esteemed speakers, dear colleagues, before the League of Nations, before the United Nations, parliamentarians come together to create the Interparliamentary Union, laying the groundwork for a rules-based international order rooted in dialogue, cooperation, and mutual accountability. Multilateralism, it is in most enduring form, has always been parliamentary. And yet, the very foundations laid by Kremer and Passy are now eroding. We are witnessing a slow and steady crumbling of the multilateral order, not through a single act of rejection, but through quiet neglect, the weakening of norms, and a steady retreat into national interest. What was once the basis of international cooperation is being shipped away, principle by principle, commitment by commitment. Institutions that upheld dialogue now find themselves questioned, bypassed, or hollowed out. The tenets that guided decades of stability and eroding, not with shock, but with attrition. As parliamentarians, we are deeply familiar with the daily challenge of reconciling difference. We represent competing visions, diverging priorities, and conflicting interests. Yet, we are called to find common ground and to deliver outcomes that serve the whole. No single state, however powerful, can solve the challenge of our time alone. Not on climate, not pandemics, not hunger, not artificial intelligence, not misinformation, not wars of aggression. Durable solutions are never imposed. They are forged through dialogue, built on trust, and sustained through cooperation. International organizations, at their best, provide the space and structure for that cooperation to flourish and provide answers to the complex challenge before us. But the peace we enjoy here in Geneva is in stark contrast with the daily death toll in Kyiv and Gaza. The Portuguese Parliament has repeatedly and massively condemned Russia's aggression against Ukraine, a clear violation of international law that undermines the UN Charter and the fundamental principles of sovereignty and territorial integrity. Likewise, lasting peace in the Middle East requires courage and clarity. Yesterday in New York, Portugal has once again underlined the need for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza, as well as its unwavering commitment to a two-state solution with the people of Israel and Palestine living side by side in peace. But let us be clear. Rebuilding trust in multilateralism also requires that we make it more inclusive. Parliaments have long been the space where change first takes root, where voices previously excluded begin to be heard, and where political will is formed before it is ratified by governments. We cannot speak of democracy, freedom or justice if half of the society is excluded. Portugal has long understood that the defense of dialogue, the rule of law and democratic institutions cannot be confined within national borders. Parliamentary assemblies are beacons. The Portuguese Parliament has consistently placed multilateralism at the heart of its external engagement, even when diplomacy between states trembles. From the previous presidency of the IPO, for the current leadership of the NATO Parliamentary Assembly, and the support and permanent participation on the Parliamentary Assembly of the Community Portuguese-speaking countries, the Portuguese Parliament has continued to work towards establishing interparliamentary dialogue as a core pillar of democratic resilience. These efforts reflect a sustained commitment to building coalitions across regions and ideologies, and to using parliamentary diplomacy to defend democratic values, promote cooperation, and uphold the rule of law. Dear colleagues, what began 136 years ago with two parliamentarians brought today delegations from more than 100 parliaments at a critical moment for the multilateral system. That legacy calls us on to action. The last century taught us that when international order strains and falters, it is not the shouts of the few, but the silence of the many that echoes through history, through dialogue and actions that are not abstract but deliberate, not passive but principled, not competitive but collaborative. Thank you.